Hi, this is Bailey Bostelman, Regional Field Director at the Foundation Fighting Blindness, and you're listening to White Canes Connect.
Hey there, PA Federationists. Welcome to another episode of White Canes Connect, presented by the National Federation of the Blind of Pennsylvania. My name is David Goldstein. I'm the first vice president of the affiliate. Joining me today, as always, is co-host and White Canes Connect creator, Lisa Bryant. Lisa, what do we have on tap today?
We have Bailey Bostelman. She is from Foundation Fighting Blindness. She's their regional field director. And coming up on Saturday, October 5th, is their Vision Walk, which I am proud to say I will be walking with them and very excited about that. So Bailey's on talking about Vision Walk and all of the other great work that Foundation Fighting Blindness is doing.
It's not the first time FFB has been on, and we'll link to that other episode in the show notes so you can take a look there. And we're putting my back against the wall for me to edit this in time to get it out before the event so you can participate. You can donate to Lisa's walk like I did. You can do all that. That'll be in the show notes. Take a look there. Lisa, I was sorry to miss that interview. I was traveling, but let's take a listen to your interview with Bailey.
Bailey, thank you so much for coming on White Canes Connect. I'm so glad we could make this happen.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really happy to be here to talk with you all.
Well, it's timely to have you now because Vision Walk is coming up. In fact, Vision Walk is October 5th. So right around the corner. So we're getting you in here by the hair on a chinny chin chin. We want to talk about Vision Walk, but I actually have only learned fairly recently about the foundation and the incredible work you guys are doing. We had representatives on our show about a year ago. We'll put the link into there. But for anyone else who also doesn't know about the foundation, why don't you give us just a brief history of how it started and what does it look like today? Where are the chapters? Are you international? Just kind of give us that whole full picture.
Yes, happy to. So the foundation was originally established back in 1971 by two families, Gordon and Lily Gunn and Bernard and Beverly Berman. And at that point in time, there was really not much being done along the lines of research for specifically inherited retinal diseases. And so this family decided, hey, we need to get out there and do something about it. So what they did is then formed the Foundation Fighting Blindness, whose urgent mission is to drive research for preventions, treatments, and cures for the entire spectrum of inherited retinal diseases. So that includes things like retinitis pigmentosa, Stargardt disease, Usher syndrome, as well as we focus on age-related macular degeneration as well. So We've done a lot in our 50-some years of time. We've raised over $915 million for sight-saving research and public health education. We've also, in 2023, funded 93 grants globally, which included 96 investigator awards across 71 institutions. And we've also helped launch 45 clinical trials, which give us opportunity for more potential treatments and cures. So a lot has happened in a very short time, but for us, the work isn't done yet. We still have a long way to go. And so one of the ways that we do that is from our over 40 chapters across the United States. And what our chapters really do is they focus on the community and on a few different areas. So one, we want to help educate the community on what does it mean to be impacted by low vision. I think there's a big misconception is that blindness and low vision is all or nothing, when really it is a spectrum. Right. And so we want to make sure people understand that. We also want to be able to connect those who are impacted to resources in their area that will help them in their daily life. So whether that be orientation and mobility training, if they are looking to connect to a low vision organization who maybe can provide them technology devices or different trainings, we want to be there to help them navigate that journey. And then, of course, since our main mission as an organization is to fund research, we do have the revenue component as well, where we invite individuals in the community to really be a stakeholder in our mission and get involved in activities like the Vision Walk that you and I are going to talk about a bit today. So like I said, we have over 40 chapters across the United States, and we actually are getting ready to launch one internationally as well in London. So still a work in progress with that piece, but we are really excited for the work that our communities are doing currently.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned resources because that's one I wanted to touch on too. I know that there's a lot of emphasis on research, but the resources and the education, that's another sort of wraparound. So I'm glad to hear that there are ways that people can get connected with you aside from just kind of knowing what research you're funding. You can also lead them to more practical information that they could use like right away.
Exactly. And one resource that I know I'm personally passionate about, and also the foundation is very passionate about, is something that we do offer in-house, I guess you could say. So we offer a no-cost genetic testing program, which will give no-cost genetic testing and counseling to individuals who've been clinically diagnosed with an inherited retinal disease and who live in the United States. So this is one piece that we're able to provide the community that really is going to give them more knowledge about their diagnosis, help connect them with potential treatments down the line, and really be able to help them navigate some of those more questionable pieces that they might have around what their diagnosis is.
Now, is that something that may not be offered through insurance? Or are you finding that people are coming to you for that because they cannot get it through their specialist or their insurance is not covering it? Is that why you're filling in that gap?
So that does definitely make a big impact and a big piece of that around why we have decided to offer this no cost genetic testing is for those who maybe don't have insurance or their insurance does not cover it. It provides them that opportunity to have access to this. We also have noticed that those who have previously done genetic testing, there's only a small bucket of people who were accessing this. And so we really wanted to be able to provide this opportunity to a wide variety of patients, so that they're not hindered by maybe any economic circumstances that they're given.
So with the counseling that comes with the genetic testing, how sort of in-depth does that get? If there are trials, say, in another state, I won't say out of the country because that may be cost prohibitive, but just how expansive is that counseling?
Yeah. So what will happen is that after an individual does the genetic testing, once their results are received, they will then meet with a genetic counselor. And what this genetic counselor will do is sit down with them and interpret those results. So help them understand a bit of what the inheritance patterns might be within their specific diagnosis. Help them identify maybe potential treatments, or help them narrow in on what to look for in a potential treatment. One thing that we do offer as part of this no-cost genetic testing is our My Retina Tracker database. So basically what My Retina Tracker is, it's a database where an individual, after they have gained this knowledge from their genetic testing, is able to put it into a secure database that houses their medical information. And then what they can do at that point is be connected to, let's say there's a clinical trial going on in New York, and this individual lives in Pennsylvania. It'll help connect them to those trials that are outside of their general area. It'll also give them more of an instant awareness of when there is something that is happening in this space. They are notified more frequently than them having to go and get that information on their own.
That's fantastic. Now let's go even further. Let's say someone goes through, has that gene identified, but that treatment, maybe there's a cost component that maybe some of these clinical trials may or not be covered by insurance. Does the foundation help with resources for being able to afford the trials or whatever the recommended treatment might be?
So we do not personally have a funding internally to where we would be able to fund individuals going to these clinical trials. One thing that we do recommend that if an individual is planning to do a clinical trial, to really do their research, to talk to their medical doctors about if this makes sense for them. And in most clinical trials, they are going to cover the cost of transportation and any other associated costs along with being part of one of these clinical trials. So I think that anyone who is interested in participating in one of those, first and foremost, talk to your doctor, make sure that it makes sense for your particular diagnosis. And then secondly, make sure that it is from a reputable source who is offering this clinical trial, that they are going to cover those costs for you so that way the individual does not have to pay out of pocket.
I'm curious what the foundation has found, how the research has changed over the years. You mentioned age-related macular degeneration. Is that a fairly new sort of add-on to the previous sort of conditions or diseases you've been more familiar with?
Yes. So at inception of the foundation, we did not fund anything for age-related macular degeneration at the time. But we have now started to do more funding around age-related macular degeneration, most specifically in the dry form. And that also includes geographic atrophy, which is the more progressive form of that dry AMD. I'm sure that many people have heard the commercials that are all over TV now of those two new treatments that are out there for geographic atrophy. So that is one thing that us as an organization is now focusing on, because we do realize that over 10 million individuals in the United States are impacted by AMD. So that there really is a need for more research to be done around that.
So we have research, you help with resources, there's an educational component, and all of this just doesn't magically happen. So we should probably talk about how the work is supported. The Vision Walk, again, is Saturday, October 5th. Tell us about the Vision Walk. How did that get started?
So our Vision Walk has been around since about 2006. So spring of 2006 is when we hosted our first one. Since its inception, it has raised over $64 million in sight-saving research, which I think is pretty phenomenal, because our Vision Walks really are all about the community. And it is the walkers and the donors and all of the sponsors who really make it happen and make the day possible. So, we really have our community to thank for us getting as far as we have with these vision walks. So, like you mentioned, on October 5th, we do have our 18th annual Philadelphia Vision Walk. It is a fantastic day for everyone to come out at the Independence National Historical Park and really just be part of the community. Come out in support of either your friends and family, or just to come out and, be able to engage with individuals and with our mission. So the day starts bright and early at 9:00 a.m. at Independence National Historical Park. Registration opens. If you have registered in advance, perfect. You're ahead of the game. But we also do offer on-site registration as well for walk-ins the day of. We then kick off our fun celebration at around 10 a.m. with a stage presentation. Here we have a medical speaker come out. We'll have a family come out and talk a little bit about their story. And we'll also have one of our local teens sing the national anthem, which is always a fantastic experience. And then right around 10:20, our walk starts. It's a nice little commemorative walk around the historical park. And then everyone comes back at the end to close us off and really celebrate all the success from the day.
And do you have a target goal this year?
We do. Yes. Our goal this year is to raise $150,000. So it's very large goal, but we have faith that with the help of all of the community supporters, we'll be able to get there.
Any idea how far or how close you are to that 1 week away?
Yes. So we're slowly creeping up. So
Okay.
right now we've raised a little over 102,000 of that $150,000 goal. So we're creeping closer day by day. But every little bit counts to help us get there.
Yeah. And I know what you mean by creeping along. So
Yes.
I have registered for the walk and I am just shy of my goal. So I know what you mean about slow and steady. But we still have a week and a lot can happen between now and then. I'm glad you mentioned that people can register on site. So if, someone's just hearing about this and, hey, I'm free Saturday, they can just come that day and register and walk.
Exactly. The more the merrier. We're welcome everybody to come out and support the day of. It is free to register. So, you're not obligated to donate, although donations are greatly appreciated.
Tell me, Bailey, I read about the Foundation Fighting Blindness Consortium. How does that fit into the organization as a whole? That's not a separate entity, correct? It's sort of enfolded into the foundation. And what is the consortium?
Yes. So we as an organization really rely on the community as a whole. So we do have a clinical consortium with over 40 global clinical centers of excellence and standards across the United States. And this is in addition, of course, to the work that we're doing within the organization. And one thing that we really strive to do is make sure that we are putting our efforts in the way that is going to make the largest impact. And making sure that we are utilizing all of our amazing donations to the best way possible. So we do have a scientific advisory board who any funding that is chosen, it goes through them to make sure that we are making the best decision. We also make sure to fund programs that are across multiple research priority areas. So, for example, We support basic laboratory-based projects that are early transitional. We do clinical studies, also preclinical research that are hitting a broad range of these different inherited diseases. So our goal is to make the largest impact we can with the amount of resources we have.
And the money raised through VisionWalk will also, so I guess it's directed in all of these different angles, so some of it will help the consortium in their work, and then I guess just general research it supports as well. Is that an accurate sort of explanation?
Yeah. So about 80% of all of the dollars that come into the organization goes on research and public health education. Of course, then there's that 20% that's just operational costs that every organization has. But we really want to make sure that 80% of our total expenditures is going into research and public health education. Yes.
The Vision Walk here in Philadelphia is next week. Are there other chapters doing Vision Walks through are different parts of the year, or is everyone doing it this first week of October?
So we have more than 35 walks across various cities on the United States. They span between, we have some spring events and we have some fall events. There are two that are happening on the 5th, the same day that the Philadelphia one is, one in Boston and one in Philly. But then throughout the year, we have various walks that are going to occur in all over the cities. So if you happen to be listening and you can't attend the one in Philadelphia, but you would like to attend in another city, you can always go to fightingblindness.org/visionwalk, and it has a list of all the cities that we host walks in.
That is great. Now, what other ways can people support aside from the walk?
Yeah, so great question. So for those who maybe walks aren't your thing, but you still want to raise money, we have a Raising Our Sight do-it-yourself fundraising program. And what this is, it's a way for anyone to take their hobby and be able to turn it into a fundraiser that helps forward the mission. We've had people who do bake sales or who will do give back nights at local restaurants. So the ideas are endless for people to get involved in that way. If maybe fundraising is not your thing, we also have tons of ways for you to get involved as well. You can volunteer with one of our 40 plus chapters across the United States. And really what these chapters do is they help identify areas in the community to where we can build new relationships, help open up doors to maybe companies or other local organizations that we can partner with and really help those in the low vision community.
Yeah. One of the sort of ongoing complaints in the blindness community is the lack of awareness that medical professionals have in organizations like yours or services and resources. Tell us a little bit about how you're helping to kind of close that communication gap.
Yes. And this is something that over the past few years, we really tried to put additional effort behind. So we have a small but mighty team here at the foundation that really focuses on what we call professional outreach. So it is just that, Lisa, is we're trying to educate medical professionals about inherited retinal diseases, educating them about the resources that are out there, because at the end of the day, we do not want an individual to go into their doctor's office, be given this challenging diagnosis, and leave there feeling like they have nowhere to go.
Right.
And so we want to be that thing that the doctor can give that patient and say, don't worry. I know you've been given this diagnosis, but there's all these resources out here for you to help you throughout this journey.
That is so needed. Now, are there volunteer opportunities in that regard? Are you training volunteers how to basically just do that kind of grassroots outreach?
Yes, we definitely are. So, if anyone is interested in being our boots on the ground for our professional outreach team, there's always ways to get involved with that. And we also make sure we don't send people out in the community without tools to make them successful. So we have a bit of a training program that a volunteer can go through that will help them learn how to talk to a medical professional, what to share, how to share for a patient who maybe is in that doctor's office to get connected with us. So there are plenty of ways to get involved with that aspect as well. One of the easiest ways that everybody can help, especially with raising that awareness to the medical professionals, is when you're going into your annual eye doctor's appointment or your biannual doctor's appointment, sharing with them about the Foundation Fighting Blindness and letting them know that this resource is available to their patients.
Great idea. I wonder too, Bailey, if you could share any testimonials or success stories. Have there been some that have really touched your heart? I'm sure you've met so many people as you've been doing these walks. And as a matter of fact, how long have you been in this position?
Yeah, so I have been with the Foundation Fighting Blindness for a little over 3.5 years now. And I will say that I have come across so many impactful stories from our community to where they felt that they were lost for a while. They didn't know where to go. Them or a family member had been given a diagnosis, and it really was life-changing. And one specific story that I will highlight is actually a family that was highlighted through our Beacon stories. So what our Beacon stories are is that about once a month, we highlight one of these fantastic, impactful stories from our community. And this story is particularly about the Danny family. They're Pennsylvania residents. They have some children, very young children, young family, and their youngest daughter was diagnosed with Stargardt's, and it really impacted all of them in figuring out how to navigate the resources available. Luckily, they were able to get connected to great doctors at UPMC. And so that was only step one, is, finding a doctor. Step two for them was being able to find the community next. So they came out to our Vision Walk for the first time, I believe it was last year. Just being with that family and being able to watch them connect with other like-minded individuals and other families who are going through the same thing. And it really took away a lot of that isolation that a lot of individuals in the low vision community feel. Because low vision, unfortunately, can be isolating. And I think that being able to see them go from at the start, the family given a diagnosis, not knowing where to turn for their daughter, to being connected to a great medical team, and then being connected to a community to where now they have endless possibilities of other families to connect with, and they're getting more information. They're getting, educated on potential treatments for their daughter, and being able to watch the science move forward. I think it puts a smile on my face, and definitely makes what we do at the organization worth it, in my opinion.
And I'm sure they will be on hand this coming Saturday.
So they will not be at this Saturday's walk. They will actually be at our other walk in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Yes, but they will be all out in full force at that walk at the end of October.
But they are satisfied customers, so to speak.
Yes, yes.
Do you know how they found you?
So they luckily were able to connect with us because of their doctor. So once again, this is that full circle piece of educating the medical professionals through our professional outreach team and being able to get a newly diagnosed patient connected with that community. And it really shows the impact it can have.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I again am so on board with this. You had an event, I guess about 2 or 3 weeks ago, maybe a little more than that, here in Philadelphia, like a kind of a meetup. And I was really impressed with that. And I signed up right away to register for the walk. And I'm really looking forward to a long-term sort of partnership with you guys. I think the work is phenomenal because, as I said earlier, you're really trying to reach people at so many different parts of their journey, and the larger community too. And like the doctors and the families who are trying to support someone with vision loss. There's a lot of education, and you hit the nail right on the head earlier when you said that a lot of the outside community thinks of vision loss as very black and white, and it's so not.
Right.
And that's another frustration, is that sort of education, but that's why we have organizations like you kind of leading that charge. Is there anything else, Bailey, that we didn't touch on that you love for people to know, or do you have sort of a call to action that you want to impart?
Yeah, I think that, lastly, what I would love to just to leave with any listeners and to you, Lisa. And Lisa, you've already taken the action. So I appreciate it. But just get involved. Whether it's, time, talent, or treasures is what we like to say. There's always a way to get involved and really make an impact. And at the end of the day, no matter how big or small the involvement is, it really has the potential to make a difference in the local community, for one thing, but also throughout the whole nation. I think it really does have that the trickle on effect to be able to make an impact. So get involved. I'm always here for questions or for other ways to get involved. If none of these that we talked about today were of interest, feel free to reach out to me.
So if people want to contact you, if they want to register for the walk, if they just want to kind of fish around the website, you want to leave all of that information for people?
Of course. So our website is fightingblindness.org. And then if you want to get connected to a staff member, you can always email us at chapters@fightingblindness.org, and we can make sure to get you connected to the right location.
And I will just give you another plug. I have had some questions along the way about the walk and setting up my page, and you guys have been incredibly responsive, very quick on the trigger. So great customer service. So
thank you so much, Lisa. We really appreciate it, and we're so excited to have you out to our walk this year. It's hopefully for beautiful weather.
Yes,
beautiful day.
Yes, yes. So the beginning of a long-term relationship.
Exactly. Yes.
Bailey, it was a pleasure having you on. All the best with the foundation. Thank you for the great work you're doing. And again, looking forward to staying in touch and partnering with you.
Yes, looking forward to it as well. Thank you so much for having us on again.
Thanks again to Bailey for coming on and talking about VisionWalk, which, Lisa, you are participating in. And I appreciate you filling in and doing it solo since I was stuck on a train. but you did a great job with the interview.
Yeah, like you said, David, wasn't prepared to fly solo this time, but Bailey's such a great interview, and there's so much that Foundation Fighting Blindness is doing. The walk is just one component. There's so that they can get you connected with. And there's so many other ways to support, whether volunteering or other fundraising ideas, as she mentioned. And people should also know Alex Cohen, who most of us know from Accessible Pharmacy, is president of the Philadelphia chapter of FFB.
So let me ask you a question about that. Do they have regular meetings like we do with the NFB?
Yeah, they do. They do. In fact, that's what Bailey mentioned, that the chapters are their links to the communities. So again, there are many ways to get involved with their work and support them.
I look forward to the full report of you and your walk. And again, if you want, I'll have a link in the show notes that you can donate to Lisa's walk. There's going to be a link so you can actually participate in the walk. Remember, it's October 5th.
Yeah. And thank you, David. You were my very first donor. So thank you for your support. And I'm really excited to participate, and I'm hoping to do this on an annual basis.
That's nice. That's a nice thing. And when we had Foundation Fighting Blindness on before, we talked to a couple of folks, and it looked like they were really into it and really committed. So that part is nice. And again, that's nice that you're going to stick with it.
Yeah. Again, great work that they are doing. And by the way, speaking of other great things that FFB is doing, so in October, they will be celebrating Blindness Awareness Month. And they've got this special campaign they're launching called Share Your Vision. We'll put all of that information in the show notes. But essentially, you can just upload a video, talk about your blindness journey, and tag FFB, and hopefully this whole thing will go viral. And they are also going to be celebrating White Cane Day on the 15th and a couple of other events for October. So make sure you read the show notes to see how you can participate in those.
Now, as far as sharing what you've got, does that mean folks outside the spectrum of people that have RP, or is it just folks in that group?
No, it's not limited at all. They are helping a wide variety of it. One of the newer sort of community groups or segments are people with macular degeneration, age-related macular degeneration. So no, it is not limited to just.
Okay. Check the show notes for all that information. You can also check the show notes because what we've got coming up, and the deadline is fast approaching to get your reservations in and everything set up for the state convention in Erie coming up November 7th through the 10th. Meal options go away on the 15th of October. So if you want to go to the convention in Erie, and you want to have meals at the hotel where we're all going to be eating at the banquet and the taco bar with the street corn buffet. Sounds delicious, right? Mm-hmm. You need to go to nfbofpa.org/2024. All of the information is there. You can register to attend the convention. You can pick your meals there. You can read about the other meal options that are there. Again, nfbofpa.org/2024.
Thank you again, Bailey. Thank you for representing FFB and the Vision Walk. Thank you all for listening. If you have any other ideas for future episodes, or if you happen to come up and walk with me on the 5th, let us know. You can shoot us an email at whitecanesconnect@gmail.com.
Or you could reach out via phone, 267-338-4495. You've got up to 3 minutes to leave your name and town and whatever you want to ask or tell us. And we'd love to know if you're going to the Vision Walk or you're going to the convention, whatever it is. Love to hear from you. 267-338-4495. Thanks for listening. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.